Good morning from Canada. I am on my way to go get a coffee this morning. And I want to start by saying thanks for watching. And also, if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, I highly recommend that you do so, because over the next couple months, I will be releasing a lot of travel photography content and a lot of wedding photography content and a fair bit of travel wedding photography content, which is my favorite blend of photography content. I'm also planning a lot of travel for October of this year. I know for certain we're going to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in November. If you have any suggestions for other places to go that are in the Abu Dhabi, Dubai, UAE area, or within even a 3 or 4 hour flight that would be super interesting for somebody from Canada to visit, feel free to drop a suggestion in the comments. I will also be making videos for my Patreon every single Monday. If you're a wedding photographer, maybe hop over there, see if that interests you, because it will all be wedding photography content. Today, what I'm going to talk about is how to make money with your travel and landscape photography. 3 ways to do that in 2018 that are still working. I talked about this a little bit on the SFP podcast, which is a 6-figure photography podcast with Ben Hartley. There's a link to that in the description if you're interested in listening to that audio. Otherwise, let's get right to it. Boodaloop, 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 boodaloop. It's a Wayne's World transition. I don't think it really worked.
Have a good one.
YouTube. Taylor Jackson.
Shooting 67 weddings last year.
Taylor Jackson, welcome.
So Taylor, you are well known in this community. You're an amazing photographer.
Welcome to my office. These are Lindsay. This is Lindsay's side of the office, and these are her wedding flowers. I can't point at things. There we go. Physics are reversed. Very difficult. These are her wedding flowers. She brought them home from Mexico. I don't think you're supposed to do that. Number 1 of the 3 ways you can make money with your travel photography. No segue. In-person shows. In-person shows are super scary, because if you post some things online, you're like, hey, come buy things from my online shopping cart, buy a 5x7. It's no big deal if nobody does. That embarrassment kind of stays local to you, and nobody knows. But if you do an in-person show and nobody shows up, that is a hell of a lot scarier. So I understand the hesitation. One kind of workaround, we'll jump right to the bottom here, is to partner with people and companies that you know are going to attract an audience. That can be a charity, that can be a different group of people that you know, that people have gone out to their shows in the past. It can be a music, it could be a band, it could be a restaurant that just organically has people in there all the time. Or it could be a company that maybe you want to do some future work with, and it's kind of a little selfish that you're just kind of networking by asking them to be involved. Nobody does in-person shows anymore, and I think that there's a lot of money to be made. People want to go out to local events. The one thing that I have found that I've done a show for quite a few destinations now, and I find that the more extreme the destination, the less you actually sell. So when we went to Antarctica, I love those photos more than any other photos that I've taken, but they sell, I would say 1/8 of what a cliche destination does. Same with Kenya. We went on safari, took a lot of great photos. We didn't really exceed the expectations from our first show, and our first show was Italy, and it is the most cliche of all the locations. As somebody from Canada, for the most part, most people that are travelers have been to Italy from here. It's a sizable trip. You go across an ocean, and I think a lot of people came back with a lot of images that they were like, oh, we're going to put these in frames. We're so excited with our Italy trip. And then they realized that the quality maybe just wasn't there. And when they blew them up, it wasn't something they could just put over top of their couch or put in their kitchen. So they come to our shows to literally buy the pictures that they tried to take on vacation, which I'm totally cool with, because we get up earlier, we get better light, we stay out later, we spend a little bit more time in post-production. All of these things kind of go together to create a great photo, and they just want to be able to tell a story and have a memory. So if they see a cafe that they sat at or a park that they walked through, they are a lot more likely to buy that photo than a wicked awesome photo of Antarctica. Also, Antarctica's cold, so I think warmer places do better. Also, when I'm traveling and photographing, I do kind of keep this in mind, that I know that people need artwork, just like the basic cliche landscape shots. They want that for big prints, but for things like kitchens, they also kind of want Italian kitchens and things that kind of accentuate the space. So if you can get a wide variety of things in different color palettes, you're going to have a lot more luck selling these in person. To kind of move a little bit away from just straight travel photography, local photography like this sells really well. That if you walk around your city and you create a stunning gallery of images locally, you are going to have an amazing show because not only will all your partners come out and buy things, you will also be able to attract and get your prints into places like literally every single business, like your dentist and your doctor's office, and everyone is a potential target because everybody wants to support local. They'd love to support a local artist and they want to show off their local area. And it is kind of the most, it's the best type of artwork that an office could have. So you'll have great success selling things like that, as well as the hidden benefit that comes with it is one, kind of the community connection, and two, the fact that you are now going to be this well-known photographer in the area. So when these people in businesses are looking for headshots, or they're looking for a promo video made, or they're looking for whatever future work, you're going to book that work because you are hopefully the photographer that they know the best and that they like the best. And that far exceeds talent and photographic skill. If they just like you, they're going to choose you for their next project. All right. Number 2, online sales. The thing that I've noticed is that there is a huge disconnect with online, that I need to be able to tell my story. And if people get involved with my story and then I can get them involved with the story behind the photo, that is actually when it starts to become, the wheels start turning and you actually start to sell a couple prints. And the other thing that I noticed was that I really need to give them a reason to buy. And because people are just very hesitant and very indecisive, and it's very hard to like make a choice online to be like, I'm going to buy this off the internet and we're going to put it on our wall. So I always do time sensitive sales to kind of incite a little bit of scarcity, and also to kind of force people to make a decision, like yes or no, like figure it out. You have like 2 days to decide. I usually do this at a time that I know that I can have prints delivered well in time for Christmas, as well as any other kind of holidays that might be important that people are giving gifts and things like that. Because once I think you turn like 18, 19, you really have no idea what to get for anyone, or at least I do. But I think that if my parents had been to Italy and I have this friend that took this picture in Italy, that seems like a reasonable gift. And if you can get everybody connected kind of on that to trust you, I think that that's a very good thing. I'm going to skip to the bottom here to show social proof. So show the proof of that other people have actually purchased your art and it's actually up in their walls and things like that. And that will help make that decision a lot easier. One example of this is my favorite, I guess, surreal photography is Eric. And like, look at like these photos are incredible, and I would love to have any of them on my wall. They're all really nice, like color palettes and really well designed, obviously, because he spent a lot of time. And you're like, these are like really, really cool images. And then you go over to his Instagram and you literally see him like creating all of the elements that go into all of these surreal images on his like Hasselblad. And you see the level of work that goes into each and every one of these photos. At that point, you really start to see the value of it. So maybe you're not going to be piecing together such insane imagery, but if you are going on a trip, show how difficult it was to actually achieve that photograph, and it will give it a little bit more value. And not necessarily value, but people will be able to justify it, like, oh, like he woke up at 4 a.m, 5 days in a row to get out there to get this shot. And at that point, they are a little more likely to spend a little bit more money. So those are my thoughts on online sales. Get people connected to the story and they will buy from you. Number 3, getting free adventures. I called it free adventures because it could be hotels, it could be experiences, it could be really anything. We do a food show now, so now like when we go to film for that, we get some free meals. And I guess like this is kind of the influencer culture, but you as a photographer and or a video creator, you don't have to have the social media following if you can create things of value for a company. And basically all you need to have is a sample project. So whether you shoot that locally or you shoot that at some crazy location, just get something on a hidden web page on your site, or just somewhere in a PDF that you can send to them so that you can show what you created for this other company and the online response it had. And at that point, you can start piecing together an offer, what you think is fair in exchange for like your services. So usually when we go somewhere, I'm happy to give like 3 or 4 Instagram photos in exchange for a free stay. And they will be kind of like the best photos. But as soon as they move and they want to put them in a brochure or they want to put them on a wall, at that point, the conversation changes and we start discussing payment, as well as if they want to bring me back or they want to send us to a sister property or any kind of exception like that. That's when you actually start making money and you can actually start quoting on jobs. But to just get your foot in the door and just start getting these jobs, if you have the time, it is like the coolest thing in the world to be able to create value and also just get a behind the scenes look at a lot of these different places that everybody in the world goes to. But now you have somebody that's actually going to give you a behind the scenes tour, which is pretty wicked. Be super simple and super clear on deliverables and what you're going to do for them. And always keep in mind that they are going to have to pitch this to their boss. So you're rarely ever talking to the person that can actually make the decision. And you don't want to make them look bad to their boss. So you want to deliver on everything. You want to deliver on schedule or ahead of schedule and better than they ever could have imagined, so that they look like a hero and a champion to their superior, which will lead to more work down the line or just a recommendation or a referral or whatever that person is able to do for you. They're going to be happy to help you out because you made them look good. So many people go and they go on like this influencer vacation or whatever, and they never really deliver on their promises. So a lot of the feedback that I'm getting from companies now is that, oh, we've like hooked a few people up and they've done really poor work, or they haven't done any work, or they haven't like even tagged us that they were just in it for selfish reasons. Be in it to make the company look the best, and then you will actually create a business that's sustainable, and you can scale it from there. And if travel is your future life, that's all you want to do, get started right now, because it is a hyper competitive industry, and the faster you can get into it and the more work that you can create and the more value you can start generating for all different types of companies, the more that your future life is going to be awesome. All right, those are my 3 tips. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Taylor Jackson. Don't forget to subscribe. I also have a full breakdown of my entire year, kind of line by line, of what I actually made money on. There's a link in the description below if you're interested in that. It's a full course, costs money, but I think that it is indeed worth it.
This is Nicolas Cage, and I am Taylor Jackson, and thank you so much for listening.